Welcome back to another episode on the Expand Your Awareness 2.0 podcast. My name is Aaron Dowdy, and I have a very special guest today. His name is Victor Odo. Victor Odo is a YouTuber and spiritual phenomenon. He's a spiritual phenomenon. Every full moon, he'll tell you exactly what the full means, and he'll show you 5 signs of things you need to know about the full moon. Okay? He's a spiritual phenomenon. He's known across the lands, and I'm very pleased to introduce you to also my best friend, and he's a YouTuber. All jokes aside, many of you know who he is. He's a YouTuber. He's a family man. He's many different labels that we can give to him. But in general, yeah, I'm gonna probably do an intro before this. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna leave this in. Okay. I'm gonna do an intro before this, but maybe even a bigger, more, better intro, like bigger.
I like the spiritual phenomenon. I thought that was great.
We'll leave it there.
We'll kind of go with that.
We'll leave it there. Okay, so what I thought we would do today, so we'll kind of look at the camera sometimes. Mm-hmm. So just so you guys that you listen on the podcast right now, we're gonna film this as well. We decided. We're traveling. We are in Newport Beach right now, and we decided that we're gonna make an episode all about money beliefs, because so many people come to us understanding like how we live in so much abundance, and we're living in Newport in this really cool, we're not living in Newport, but we're in Newport in this really cool Airbnb. And we decided to make this podcast episode. So we're filming it, and we're here right now as well on podcast. And we don't have to look at it the whole time. We'll just have a casual conversation. You know what I mean?
Sure.
The energy seems to be, I like it when it flows like that.
Yes.
More so than like, I remember the first one we did back at the other house? We're trying to like make a video and do a podcast at the same time, and the magic in it is just talking.
In a conversation.
Yeah. So, okay, yeah. So, awesome. So what we're going to talk about today is spiritual beliefs, and not spiritual beliefs, but beliefs about money, and understanding how to overcome those limiting beliefs, because it's something I think I see a lot in the spiritual community, and just in general.
Yes.
Money beliefs.
And probably because we've seen it within ourselves first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe we'll share some of the different...
I was going to suggest like maybe share a little bit about like our roots, like how we weren't always in abundance. I was in debt.
Right.
We had some kind of crappy job that you didn't like.
Yeah. Yeah. Why don't you can go ahead and start it off. I know kind of your story, but they don't.
Sure.
Some people
I
might
was just
not.
joking. I gave you a look like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Yeah, so I would say I had a point in my life where I was somewhat cozy. I had a good job. Yeah, it was a business, but it was a good job. But I was not happy. I had to devote most of my time and energy and focus into it. And I was not really a present father. I was not happy.
Was that when you were a personal trainer?
A personal trainer. I owned a personal training gym, and I also grew medical marijuana.
Yep.
Anyway, they're like drudgerous, taxing jobs.
Legally.
It was legal.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. What does that mean?
We were like on the border for a little while there. But anyways, don't tell anybody. I got to a point where I started to kind of pursue my calling, which is to do what I'm doing now, sharing on YouTube and creating content and coaching and whatnot. But to do that, I had to sever my businesses, my cash flow. So I went through a point where I was literally paying the bills with credit cards.
Wow.
And I quickly slid into a lot of debt because I have 3 children. We had like car leases, like nice car leases and stuff.
Yeah.
So I know what it's like to not only not be abundant, but to be bleeding money and to be sliding deeply into debt.
Yeah.
Month after month after month. But I had this like goal and this vision for myself, and as I went to create it, that's when a lot of my beliefs about money kind of came to light. I saw how they really were sabotaging me. But we'll go deeper into that. But that's a bit about my background.
Yeah. I think it's cool. I think you in a way, one thing I've always kind of admired about you as well, you've always kind of had an entrepreneurial mind. Like I remember hearing Gary Vaynerchuk talk once. He's like, if you've ever worked for someone, then you're not a true entrepreneur. And I was like, well, I had a 9-to-5 job, but my 9-to-5 job was like selling stuff. So it was like commission based, so I kind of justified it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
But you like literally you haven't had you did the valet job for a while. Mm-hmm. But other than that, you were a personal trainer, which you kind of work for yourself.
Yeah.
And then obviously, growing medical marijuana also kind of worked for yourself. And then being a YouTuber now you work for yourself.
Right.
So I always thought that was kind of cool. But even as an entrepreneur, or whatever, you know, people are doing, there's limiting beliefs no matter what, you know?
Yes.
And especially I think people just kind of bought into how people think they need to be. The reason I say this is because I come from a background of like working a 9-to-5 job for like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in a 9-to-5 job, you have someone that's telling you what to do every day, you know? And even though it was a sales commission job, it's like I see how people get so locked into being told what to do every day, and they're kind of in the autopilot mind. It's comfortable. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm sure even for you, when you were doing the physical training and stuff, it was comfortable, right?
Yes.
You know, you may have been trying to scale it or get to the next level, but it was probably comfortable and familiar, but you just knew it wasn't your passion. And for me, it was like, you know, I was making decent money. You know, when I first got into I worked at Nordstrom's in women's shoes, and when I first got there, I was 18 years old, and all my friends were like, my friends were like the same age. I was like 19 years old, I think, or 20, I forget, but they were all like the same age, and I was making like $20 an hour, selling commission.
Yeah, not bad.
That was, you know, at that age, making $20 an hour was pretty freaking cool, you know, and it was a cool, like I like to, you know, just go to work, sell. When you're done at work, I go take friends out, do whatever, you know what I mean? It was pretty cool. But I see how you get kind of locked into people get locked into the rigid belief system of the 9-to-5 because it's predictable, and it's what you think you should be doing, you know?
Yeah, I think one of the traps is that you do get to a lot of people do get to a place of comfort, like $20 an hour at your age, you're making good money, so it's hard to justify going in some other new direction when you're safe. It seems like you're squandering your opportunity, but the problem is those jobs tend to suck up all your energy,
right?
And you don't have enough spare energy to build your dream. So you finally you choose comfort for, you know, an exhilarating, awesome, adventurous life.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they do that, and over the years it becomes harder and harder and harder.
And then it's too late. Like, oh, I got a family now, you know. Yes. It was a weird trap where I worked too, working at Nordstrom's, because you would get these people that would be going to college while they're going to working there. And what they would do is they would then graduate from college with like a finance degree or an economics degree. And then the option they had was to leave $60,000 to $80,000 a year, to leave to go work a job that's with their major, getting paid like $20,000 a year.
Yeah.
So it's a trap. So a lot of people, maybe it's my own belief, but it was a lot of people would get kind of caught in that. So they would, by the time they were done graduating, it's like, do I want to let go of this $60,000, $70,000 a year job to go do what I'm actually went to my career for? But even what they went to school for may not be what they're actually passionate about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So it's a funny like little cycle. But I
There's
noticed
no
that
good options in any of that.
there isn't. So I remember just always noticing that in people. Like, well, you got a 4-year degree, but he's still, you know, there's anything wrong with that. Some people, their passion might be to sell women's shoes. You know, and there was a guy I know that I used to work with. And he like big following on Instagram, and he was like one of the #1 salespeople in the company in women's shoes.
Yeah.
And he was passionate about it. He'd get up every day. He was constantly posting stuff, and he's passionate. I think that's cool. Right. I have nothing against like being a shoe salesman or a 9-to-5 job, but is it what you're passionate about? Because if it is, you'll be rewarded for it. He was one of the top earning people. He got rewarded for it.
Right.
Because he was so passionate about it, and he was constantly posting stuff on social media, and you know, he's like, oh, this new thing's coming in, and so yeah, I guess it just kind of depends on the person, or like what their
all passions are valid. I've been to restaurants where the waiter, I could tell, just loved what he did.
Yeah,
he was amazing at it.
Yep.
You know, just a great waiter.
You remember the guy? You remember the thing that we bought at that Lucky? We went to this place, and we got these like little bracelets.
Yes.
And there was this guy that was called like Luck and Charm. I forget what it was called, like something in Luck in Vegas. Went to this mall, and this guy was so passionate about the different stones, the different crystals, and he's got so much energy. And I was like, bro, I could tell you're good at what you do. I used to work in sales, you know. I was like, I could tell you're good. I bet you he's one of the top salespeople at that little store. There's probably like 5 people that work there.
Yeah, he got us. We both bought something. And
we didn't even go in there to buy anything. I was like, I'm not gonna buy anything.
And I could tell you're like, no.
No. But then you were getting. And I was like, okay, well that's actually cool. And I actually started to like it, you know. But he knew kind of what to do. But in general, so for this episode, what I thought we would do is we would share kind of maybe the first thing we'll talk about right now that's kind of coming to me is when it comes to a lot of the people in our audience, obviously, are people that would consider themselves spiritual people, maybe people that have been through spiritual awakening. And in general, there can be this block that people have around being spiritual and being abundant.
Oh,
what do you think about that? You think it's just, you just see it a lot and...
Yeah, I had it too, but I think it's just very common. For whatever reason, people feel, I think, sometimes that on one hand they want to just help somebody. Like there's someone on the street, I want to help them.
Right.
But then there's the whole missing part of the equation is, well, what about yourself?
Right.
Like I love helping people. If I didn't need money, I would just help people for free because it feels great. Your YouTube videos feel good to me, right? But I have 3 children, I have bills. And I need to be reciprocated, and it's not balanced, I think, to give, and not have that reciprocated. But a lot of us, I think, don't feel worthy. I think there's what I found with my own little journey of unraveling my limiting beliefs about money and abundance was that they were just very deep rooted, not surface level. Not that my mind thought it's wrong to charge for spiritual stuff. It's more like I don't feel worthy about asking for a return. It was very deep like that. But a lot of people have that, and there really is there's a lot of like stereotypes. And
what do you think you got the belief in the unworthiness?
I think childhood. My parents did their best, but I think it's like childhood issues, like really stuff that would be even difficult to unravel for you right now. But there's many layers to it. I found. But
so what? Like as the layers would come up, you just kind of become aware
so
of it.
The way I worked through it is like as I went forward with my dreams anyways, I would watch as these unconscious beliefs would sabotage me. And it would happen in very weird ways. They even say this in books. I read sales books a while back. They would talk about how some salesmen, they had like a glass ceiling, they called it, of how much they could make. And sometimes the salesman would make they'd hit like 80% of their annual quota in the first 2 months. And you think, man, they're on track. They're going to have a great year. But then they would find ways to sabotage into that dial. Yeah. And it would always even out no matter what. And I think the limiting beliefs are like that. And then as an entrepreneur going for it, I was able to kind of watch those play out in my life. I would have my own glass ceilings. Yeah. But then I would examine them and look at them, and I would try to inquire within, why am I doing this? And that would usually lead to insights and whatnot and breakthroughs.
So analyzing it, becoming aware of it, and then just choosing to push through it. I
think a big part of it is action forward toward your dreams, and then taking responsibility for your quote-unquote problems, knowing they are creations of yourself, and saying, why am I doing that? Yeah. And then that opens you up to the possibility of attracting the insights, the healings, the etc., and that allows you to release it and go forward untethered to those beliefs.
I agree.
That's how it worked for me.
Yeah.
How about you?
With what? With spiritual?
I don't know. Just like what's your take on all that? Like you must have had some beliefs you had to work through over the years.
The first one in general, I remember I going through my spiritual awakening in 2012, and even my own beliefs was like, oh, well, if you're spiritual, you don't, like, if you're making spiritual content, you shouldn't charge for it.
Right.
It should be like, something that you just give away. So how could I ever become like abundant as a YouTuber or as somebody that would do any of this stuff? Because it's not a business. There's not money in that,
Right.
But then I started making, of course, I was working the 9-to-5 job at, the story I tell all the time, where I worked 9-to-5 job at Barney's, New York, after Nordstrom's, which is in Barney's, New York. And then I just knew that that's not what I was passionate about. I wanted to do something more. And I started making YouTube videos, but I started to see that what I was putting out there had value. And that I had my own block, because also I cared what people thought a little bit. Like, I'm sure you'd agree, like, my personality in general is like, normally I just I don't care. Like, I try really not to care what people think, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I think in the beginning I did, and I was worried that people would see, I was like worried about charging for spiritual information, or the YouTube channel, So for me, there was this whole thing that then I just saw it for what it was, and I thought it was just ridiculous. Like, this is how I thought about it. When people say you're spiritual and you shouldn't charge for your spiritual gifts, or you shouldn't charge for spiritual information. And I actually heard Bashar talk about this as well. So I'll remind me to talk about that.
Okay.
That analogy. But this was the epiphany that I had, and you know this because I've told you this before. So just kind of explaining it again. But
sure.
The idea is you have companies like Coca-Cola, like companies that like soda companies, McDonald's, all these fast food companies, that when you eat their food, it literally can kill you. Like, you eat that food consistently for years and years, it's very likely you could get some type, you're in an acidic state, like it could kill you over time, or even alcohol, which can literally do the same type of thing, or things that are just not safe and not good. And we don't ever look at anything like that and think that that is a negative thing that you shouldn't be charging for. And we don't even think twice about it. But for some reason, what we do is there will be people that give information that appears to help people and change their lives. Like, people may change the course of their lives, or they may, I'm not saying every video does that or our content does that for everybody, but in general, we do have people that reach out and say, oh, this did this for me, I decided to go for this, or their lives are changed. However, because it's a spiritual thing, it's on some type of pedestal to where it's like, you shouldn't charge for that, but I totally get why people can charge for Pepsi and all this other stuff that has corn syrup in it that will literally kill you over time.
Right.
So it's like we put it on this spiritual pedestal, the idea of spirituality. But I was as well. And when I first went through my awakening, I was like, oh, I can't do this and like plan on making money with this. Like, but what do people expect us to do? Like, do people expect us? Is it like we cash in on goodwill? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I know I got to pay my bills. I know I got to pay for my mortgage and stuff. But don't you know that Johnny over there watches my videos and he sends me good energy because he likes my videos,
Yeah.
So it's just kind of this funny idea that we have in our mind. And I had that because I was worried about what people thought. But then I realized that it's all energy. Everything is energy. Money is energy. Money isn't, like, we think money is real. Money is only real because we agree that it's real. And based on that mass agreement, we then use it to exchange goods. But money's still energy. And because money is energy, I did realize, well, I'm putting out energy. Not only am I putting out energy, but I work really, really efficiently at what I do. I get up every single day and I do all of this stuff. And I'm my own boss, So, like, I have to hold myself accountable. So, like, all of this work that I'm doing, the energy is going out. It's helping people, apparently, in different ways. But it made me aware that it's an energy dynamic versus anything else. And to not put certain things on different pedestals. Like, I don't make soda or stuff like that. That's not my passion, but I do make videos that help people expand their awareness. You know what I mean?
Right,
That's at least what I perceive that I do. So I don't know. I guess that for me is something I see in the spiritual community, and we know this too because we help people go full time doing what they love, and we have people that come to us that are the coaches, Reiki practitioners, musical artists in general, like painters. Artists, sculptors, all these different things, and there's guiltiness. Like, can I charge for it?
Talented people.
Yeah, amazing gifts. Even psychic gifts or clairvoyant gifts. But it's this spiritual thing. We got to put it on this pedestal, and you can't charge for that. But that's just and that will hold people back from actually going forward. It's like if you were to just accept your gift and to understand its energy being exchanged, that I'd say is one of the biggest belief blocks in the spiritual community is being able to charge for your gifts.
Yeah.
And there's a balance with this. Doesn't mean you have to be greedy and like, you can't give one person a piece of advice because it's like you got it. But it's, you know what I mean?
Right.
What were we going to say about it?
I was going to say what helped me, I think we human beings do this a lot where we project what made sense in the past into the present. Meaning like 1,000 years ago, the shaman, the healer, the spiritual person was protected and taken care of and fed and sheltered by the tribe. And so spiritual advice it made sense for it to be free.
Yeah, that's good. I never even thought of that.
No one's paying my house bill.
Right.
It's just not like that.
But also in the tribalistic times, there wasn't the capitalist society that we live in now.
Exactly.
So like everyone was in a way taken care of.
Right.
Everyone found uses for them. Like everyone had a use, a purpose. Some people were hunters. Some people were taking care of the kids. Some people were doing political stuff.
Right.
It's just once again, it's an energy exchange. We're not there yet. Like maybe in 5D Earth one day,
right.
We all just pay each other and like good vibes and we all have a different purpose and there's not like this big disparity between really, really poor and really, really rich and all that. But we're not there yet.
Right.
and we still have to pay taxes, we still have to do all this stuff, well, for a period of time, you know. But yeah, I'd say the biggest spiritual blocks I see is I'd say spiritual beliefs in general are rooted in worthiness.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Or just unexamined beliefs.
Unexamined belief, exactly. But also, unexamined beliefs, but also unexamined beliefs around worthiness.
Yeah.
Because if you feel worthy to do what you're doing, it's like you just show up powerfully, you do it, you have no problem charging for it or like exchanging it somehow.
Yes.
You know, but it's like around worthiness. And I looked at like even now as we're talking about it, I'm looking back to my old past where like I had like the abusive stepmom and stuff like that. And I see how being in that kind of rough or violent environment had me become like this soldier for wanting to become more. Like I've seen and heard people on podcasts talk about how a lot of like really successful people have had really tough pasts. You know what I mean? So maybe, and then they have this like toughness to prove themselves. You know, it's like, oh, I'm going to prove this person wrong. You know, when I was first starting on YouTube, I had like a group, like certain friends that I could tell, like a group at parties and stuff or whatever. I'd be like, oh, I'm still doing YouTube. I'm doing YouTube. That's what I'm up to. Blah blah blah. And I'd say, you know what I mean? Like I could just tell that it was like, yeah, okay, you know. But I had to push through that, you know, and I had to feel worthy, and I had to feel like I am good enough, and I can make these videos or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah.
But that had this thirst to prove myself, and even now, even as we're talking now, I still have that in a certain way. I'm still hungry for more, you know, which can be destructive and it can be good at the same time. But it's me being aware of that and being aware of that worthiness.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, worthiness I think is like a powerful
that's
belief.
most of my limiting beliefs came down to that. You've helped me work through some of them with like with selling and earning a living and trying to expand my.
We'll talk a little bit about that, yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a good frame of reference. Is there anything that comes?
Yeah, so I'll just kind of. So basically, Victor and I each have. I mean, if you're listening to this, many of us know we're on YouTube. We both have successful YouTube channels. We have information that we give away for free, and then on the other side of that is there's some information that have step-by-step processes of stuff that we charge people for, because. And here's the thing as well. Some people are like, oh, you shouldn't charge for your spiritual gifts. There's like a statistic that shows that if you do not pay for something, you do not value it.
I was going to mention that, actually.
So
I learned this real quick as a personal trainer. I had a couple people that I felt bad for, so I trained them for free. Mm-hmm. And they were the ones that were always missing sessions. They didn't take advantage of it. And even at one time I have a big email newsletter I send out multiple times a week. And one time I decided to give away 2 free Skype sessions. This is after I became pretty successful on YouTube.
I remember
this, a highly sort of desirable thing. It cost a lot of money to have a Skype with me. And both people didn't show up. Neither people, we scheduled the call, and neither people, because people don't value it because they didn't pay for it.
Wow, that's
interesting. And that's just something I've learned through experience. So it's helpful for a person to invest themselves into something so they actually use it.
Yeah, I agree. And I looked at things that I actually got value out of, and a lot of times, you know, this isn't just some pitch. I'm saying this. Yeah, I could think of many times, but in general, that's true. Like you value something more when there's some type of exchange there. Yeah. Because then you're bought in. You're bought in, even just a little bit, you know. But in general, where I was going with this is, Victor and I we have courses online, and maybe it's because I sold women's shoes for years, but I know how to sell. You know what I mean? Like I know how to sell just in general because I worked in basically selling is, and everyone's a salesperson whether they realize it or not. You know, you hear what's that one guy from The Wolf of Wall Street? He talked like even if you may be a mom and you have to sell certain ideas to your kids to get them to do things. Right. You know, like you're going to go to your room or whatever it is. We're selling constantly in some way or another. It's just we rationalize it differently. But in general, Victor and I each have these different courses, and we have courses that help people, and we have these things called product launches. And in our product launch, what happens is we are launching a new product. We have people that are waiting to get into like a new process. Like right now, as we film this, I had the Shift Experience, and the Shift Experience is like this big launch that I'm in the middle of right now, and there's like all this attention going towards it. But it's a week period of where people can get in and get this really cool product that I spent like 6 months making, and they get in. I can help them get certain results. and that's called a product launch. It's like the window of where they can get in, and you have some sales videos that get them in, and vice versa. Well, there's been some times that you have had some launches, and when you're doing the launches, there's sometimes a little bit of guilt around selling to your audience, because it's like, you know, and you would tell me that you would start making these sales videos, and sometimes you'd start making the sales videos, and it's just like you were forcing it. It was hard to get it to come through, you know. So where I would help you is I'd be like, you know, you have to know that I'd kind of explain it to you, like you have to know that what you're doing is going to add value to them. So instead of you seeing it as like you're taking their money, it's you're giving them the value.
Yes.
And having that perspective shift. What would you say has been the biggest shift as far as like making not just sales videos, but helping people and getting people into courses and stuff like that?
It's been a whole journey for me, but I would say the biggest thing for me was just continuing forward on the journey and seeing the results of me helping people, and just seeing like that my beliefs about myself and my self-worth and my ability to help another person were incredibly distorted. They were not accurate at all.
Okay.
And then you also shared with me the shift technique a long time ago, and in Sedona, and that was incredibly helpful as well. It really showed that I can choose to be who I want to be in the present moment, rather than allow my past ideas about myself so much influence my decision making and forward moving action. There's a choice. I can be the old self because that's comfortable and kind of easy to let go and let it just take over my life as it has been, or I can kind of stand firm and present and say, you know what, I'm going to use kind of logic here. Like I do help people. I do get results. It doesn't make sense that I have these feelings of unworthiness as powerful as they are. And then that sort of awareness that there's a choice in the moment is what allowed me to kind of like make that shift. Yeah. And then from that point forward, it's like, it was about taking action from that perspective of knowing who I am. Yeah. And then that's what you always are preaching about. And then from that point forward, it like, there's an initial period of going against your inner resistance. Like the ego flares up loud, but then you kind of win the battle. Right. And then those beliefs kind of fall away. Yeah. And all that's left is who you really wanted to be the whole time. Right. And then it's easy and effortless and fun and joyful. And then the abundance flows in even more powerfully. Yeah. So, yeah, it was what you said. We're at the top of Bell Rock. That you said that as well, because it's like you disassociate from like any belief that anybody has here that's listening to this right now or whatever. Their belief of limitation of like they're not worthy is something that they acquired when they were younger. Right. It's something that happened, and in that moment they gave it a meaning that says, I'm not worthy. Maybe they were in a car with their mom or dad, and their mom or dad was like, oh, money doesn't grow on trees and all of this stuff. And they started to believe that. They agreed. It's based on agreement. They agreed that. They said, yes, you're right. And then they go out into the world 20 years later, 10 years later, whatever it is, and it's the same type of thing. Like, I can't do this. I don't have the money for it, blah, blah, blah. They feel this resistance because they associate that with prior meanings. Yes. So when I gave you like the shift technique, for example, I could see that all it was past stuff that hadn't been like it's been processed, but it wasn't even who you are now. Right. It was just like this outdated version of you that you were learning to shed. Yes. And it was a story that you tell yourself. One of the most, when it comes to beliefs in general, the thing that I think that I really enjoy talking about is how our stories create our life. And the story you tell yourself consistently becomes your reality. And I could tell that with you, some of the things you'd be telling me, like, well, you know, I sent this email out this morning to this sales video, and the sales video is this and that, and I'd be like, bro, that's a story. You know what I mean? Like, become like, it's a story. And you're like, you're right, it is a story. And then the idea was disassociate from that story and wire in this new story, which is what you did. Yes. And you did that, and it was a profound difference, by the way. Like, I remember, you know, the next, like 2 days later, I saw you at the gym, and you're like, I'm doing this now, and it had to do with more than just money. It had to do with making videos and like this new sense of identity. But I'd say money beliefs are very much tied to the identity. Yeah, and they smother much more than just like the next task at hand, like the product launch, the belief. It's stopping from once you shed one negative belief like that, especially about like abundance and worthiness, it leaked everywhere. It changes everything. It changes the way you carry yourself, the way you communicate. and just your reality experience literally begins to mimic your your rediscovery of the truth of who you are underneath your beliefs. It was very powerful, and it doesn't have to go away.
Right.
It's like something that sticks. Once you uncover or unravel one of those beliefs and let it go, you really are free of that, and you get to benefit in surprising ways sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the biggest I shared this before. One of the biggest changes for me when the cool thing is that abundance. I went in every single day to Nordstrom's or Barney's New York, wherever, those are the two companies I worked for, at different times or whatever. But whenever I was going into work, what I loved about it is I learned about the law of attraction. Every single day I went into work, I started at 0 because it's commission. So what I was able to see is every day I would go in and I would play this game with myself. What is my intention for the day? What kind of energy do I have for the day? How are people responding to me? And what is the result? So if I went in one day, I was like, I want to sell $4,000 today, and it's a commission job. We got like 10% commission at Nordstrom's. So I was like, make $400, not bad, for an 8-hour shift. I'd have that intention. I'd go in, and then I'd say the next day, I'd be like, okay, I want to have $4,000 goal or whatever the goal is. If it's a busy day, then I'd have a bigger goal. If it was a day normally slow, I'd have like a certain. I'd adjust it according to what I thought I could do for the day. But what I would do is I would change around the energy. Okay, today I'm going to focus on adding value to the other people. Today I'm going to focus on just having fun and getting people into a positive vibration, a positive emotion. And I would play around with these different dynamics to see what worked. And one day I went into work and I realized I read a book had to do with psycho-cybernetics, old school book, about your self-image. So I said, you know what? I see myself as on autopilot. I saw myself as an average employee. I go in, not passionate about shoes. I was like between upper and average. I wasn't like necessarily the bottomist, but you know what I mean?
Right.
I was like just scraping by. I went in one day and I started to see myself. I said, you know what? I'm going to see myself as a top employee. I'm going to imagine me walking in every day because they actually show people every day the people's sales numbers from the day before gets posted, so I can see how much everyone in my department sold the day before. So I'm going to start imagining myself walking in and seeing myself at the very top of the list. So I started to do this, and I started to act from this energy, and almost immediately, within days, I was the top salesperson every day. I was lucky. I was in the right place at the right time. I just had all these really cool things happen because I started to see myself as a top performer. So then I said to myself, well, how else can I use this? So I started to apply it towards other things. And then eventually, of course, became a YouTuber. I started to see myself as a YouTuber. But in order to see myself as a YouTuber, it wasn't just me like, oh, I'm going to see myself as a YouTuber. I was like, no. What would a full-time YouTuber do? And for me, that was make a video a day. Okay, so I'm not only going to visualize myself every day as being a full-time YouTuber, I'm going to actually be it. I'm going to make videos every single day, even when no one's watching my videos, because eventually, over time, that will compound, and I will become a full-time YouTuber. And that's kind of how I did it. People are like, oh, well, they have it all mixed up. They say once I do this a certain amount of time, then I'll be this. And then I can have all these cool things. Yeah. It works the other way around. You must first be it and have the action with it, but then you can have all the cool shit that comes along with it. You know?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So it's like identity shifting. It's like the beliefs and identity. And if you could shift your identity, then then the beliefs come with it.
Yeah, and also the way it's kind of unfolded for me, and I did a lot of the same stuff earlier on. Like before, as a lot of you guys, some of you know anyway, who've been watching me. Sort of like the beginning of my journey towards my dreams began when I was living in Michigan, and I wanted to move to San Diego and be a YouTuber and sort of have this freedom lifestyle that we both have now. And I used to literally wake up early every morning and sit in front of my fireplace and visualize myself on the beach. I visualized myself pulling up in a big black SUV. I don't know why I picked that. I didn't own it. And I picture myself having this laptop and walking to the beach with a black shirt and sunglasses. And I swear to God, 6 months later, I was there. But it wasn't magical. What happened was charging my body up with that sense of self. It started to shed light on all the different things in my life that weren't congruent with that version of myself. Like, okay, well, what are you doing in Michigan? So like just being in the wrong state started to really become more like there was dissonance. Like you don't belong here. Like for you charge up about being a YouTuber. Like, well, you're not making freaking videos. Right. You start thinking about that. Don't enter your awareness. And it's about kind of taking action and following up, just cleaning up your life so it's all conducive to this person you are deciding to be in the moment.
Right.
And then that's kind of, it's like a twofold process.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, it's a reflection.
But it works, and it works fast.
It does. Yeah, I'd say identity is probably one of the most powerful things.
That's like,
to
I
shift,
think the fastest way to get a result is the identity.
Yeah.
And I did the same thing when I was living in Michigan. I said the same thing to myself. Like, what would someone who had this dream already manifested do? What would their lifestyle be like? I'm not in San Diego yet, but if I was there, I'd wake up and I'd go for a hike every day. So I started waking up and going for a hike every day.
Even in Michigan.
Freaking cold.
With no mountains.
No mountains.
Yeah.
No, I literally started to model my lifestyle and made it exactly how I would want it when it was there.
Yeah.
And then what you do, you get ideas. You attract ideas into your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You really start to manifest.
Yeah, you get into that state. I remember even with you telling me about the whole daily video thing. Like, Victor used to always tell himself a story. The story was, I'm not like you, man. I can't make videos every day like you. I got 3 kids and all this stuff.
Yeah,
like,
it's not meant to be.
It's not meant to be. My energy's not. Yeah, like, I think you're just meant to do that, bro. You're just meant to do daily videos. I'm meant to do like once a week, like an energy moon updates. Like, that's all I'm meant to be doing. And then one day, that was when you started applying the shift technique. When I told it, that was kind of the main thing. I was like, bro, that's just a fucking story.
You saw it when you called me out. I was like telling you, like, yeah, you know what, Aaron, I tried, and what I realized is that some bullshit. You're like, ugh. Like, you were like disgusted about you're like appalled. You're like, ugh, that's like a limiting belief, bro. And then you went on to kind of help me, but it was like, but seeing your reaction was like, you know what? I could tell that was an honest reaction from another person.
Yeah,
it really.
I was like,
showed me that.
I think I remember that. I was kind of like, dude, that's just like,
it's like shut up.
Yeah, that's like a story you're telling yourself. Like, it's not inherently true on reality that Victor Odo cannot make daily videos. It is empirically like undeniable, undisputable fact. That's how reality works. But then I don't know. That's just part of it too. Is I could just kind of see it. It's like that's just a story, and maybe you have some contributing factors to it. Like, you have kids, I don't. You know what I mean? You have a little more. You have more responsibility than I do. You know what I mean? I get up every day and just like, I don't know, just do this or do that or whatever because I don't have as much responsibility. So I could see there's be some supporting evidence, but the meaning of that isn't empirically like, well, you're gonna, it doesn't mean the first part of your day you can't just go do the video right away.
Exactly.
And like model it around your lifestyle. But when you started doing that, it's like the energy came to you though. Remember that I kind of told you that a little bit as well. Like, the more you use your spiritual gifts, is the more the universe wants to give you more information on that. So like, I was making daily videos, and it's like people ask me all the time, how do you make daily videos? How do you make daily videos? How do you make daily videos? Well, I get into a flow state, and it's like it just flows through me because I'm using it, and because I'm using it, it just wants to give me more. It wants to give me more. But when we're not using it that much, it like takes more for us to get into that flow state or whatever it is. But now that you're doing it like pretty much every day, like today, I come in, I leave so that he can film a video earlier. He's like filming right over here, like right behind where this camera is. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to the beach. I go to the beach for like 15, 20 minutes. And I come back after 20 minutes. I'm like, Victor's video is normally like 15 minutes, normally not like 20, 30 minutes. He'll for sure be done. I open up the door, and I'm listening. He's in the middle of filming a video. And then like halfway through, he's like, hey bro, you can come up. He knew I was down there. He's like, bro, you can come up whenever. I'm filming a second video. I'm like, what? Like, Victor's filming 2 videos in one day? Like, what is happening? Right. But it wasn't this empirically true reality that Victor can only make, 1 video a week. It's like, now you fucking did 2 videos in one day.
And it was effortless.
It was effortless. Yeah, I could tell you're just in the flow state.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even now, we were just on a bike, on the way. We live a pretty cool lifestyle. We are in a really nice Airbnb right now. We're going to go eat at like a really nice restaurant here in about half an hour to an hour. And we were driving our bikes earlier, and we're on our way back. We're like, hey bro, you want to film a podcast episode? Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? We do what we want when we want. And we're in the flow state to make a podcast episode.
Yes.
So it's like, it's almost like the more you're in this vibrational flow state, the more you can do anyways. Yeah. It's easy. It's not hard.
Right.
Once you get that initial momentum.
Exactly.
First 2 days are probably like, well, I'm not in the best state today. Well, this just happened, and this happened this morning, which means I shouldn't probably make a video. But then you no excuses. You just do it. You do it.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that helped me around the time that you kind of helped me out, I was reading this book that you recommended called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Yeah, it's a good book.
And there's a whole chapter they talk about ideas, and they talk about ideas as in these like almost like concrete entities of themselves. And imagine idea bubbles floating around, and sort of all of them longing to be, realized in physical reality. And they look around for people, and sometimes you get an idea.
Yeah.
And I found that the people who will express those ideas tend to get more of them.
Yeah.
And that was my big block.
I like that visualization.
Yeah.
I've heard you say it before, but I like that the bubbles are kind of around. And like the more you use it, the more the bubbles just kind of come to you.
Like this guy, he freaking makes daily YouTube videos. All the
We're gonna hover around him.
We're gonna go around Aaron. So
yeah.
Like I don't know about you, but I get ideas all the time. I have ideas and I know what to do with now because I'm one that takes action on them.
Right.
And sometimes, at least in the beginning, especially when there was the blocks, well, this idea might not be good. People might criticize this idea. People will think it's stupid for being a YouTuber. But you push through that, and then the ideas keep flowing.
Yeah, it's just pushing through
other people's lives and your own lives.
Yep.
And then it's like easy because you're just a conduit. It's not even like
you're not even doing
we're not these genius YouTube video idea guys. We just
allow it to flow through.
It pops in our mind, and we say, okay, I'll do it.
So remember that one analogy I was talking about? That
Which
Bashar
one?
analogy I was talking about?
Yes.
So somebody asked, so Bashar talked about this before, and it really resonated with me. He used an analogy. Especially because we're in the information. Like, we sell digital products. Nice.
Just kidding.
So what's Victor doing over here? So there was this analogy. He said, this is what he said. The tree of wisdom bears many fruits, and anybody can pick a fruit off of the tree. Anybody. But what happens is sometimes some people may be passionate about picking the fruit off the tree. And picking up the fruit off the tree and then delivering it in a certain way that people like to be delivered, like maybe cut up the fruit a certain way, maybe make a puree out of it, make it like look really cool, and then give it to people. Anybody here has a connection to source. Anybody here can connect to any information that me and you share on our YouTube channels. Anybody could. But what we do is we do the work of conglomerate, like consolidating all of this information together into bite-sized, easy to understand pieces that then people can digest in an easy way.
Right.
So everything is free, but what we do is we take that information, we package it up in a certain way, and we give it in a convenient type way that people can then get. So this information is free to anybody.
Right.
But what we do, so it's kind of an easy way to understand it. So maybe what you do is you're a coach, you're a healer, you're a Reiki practitioner, whatever it is. Anybody can heal themselves. It's free, but what you're doing is you're allowing it to flow through you.
Right.
We're allowing this to flow through us, but I still got to get up every day and have the camera set up and ready, and there's still work ethic involved, and because of that, that's how it's able to justify creating a process like a course or something like that. But it helps people to, what I want to do, our intention with this episode in general is helping people to understand that you're worthy and that what you're doing is something that justifies you being abundant with. If you're passionate about it, there's somebody that wants to consume your content. There's somebody that wants to see it's entertaining to them. Whatever it is, just know that there's somebody on the other side of that. It could be something niche too, like fucking basket weaving. There's people passionate about that. There's websites about it.
Yeah.
And there's people that make YouTube videos about it. So there could be demand for it. It doesn't matter what it is, but it's understanding that and just moving forward with that and really just having a vision of that,
Yeah, and not being afraid to send out the apples. A lot of the spiritual people are very tapped into the same source of information and they get ideas. But they're taking all the apples and storing them in their garage because they're too nervous and self-conscious to put them out there.
I like that, yeah.
And it is scary to open up your garage like, here's my apples for sale.
Right.
But after a while, people are like, damn, that's a good apple, bro. I really like it. I'm going to give it a thumbs up and I'll leave you a comment on your apple. And it's like, okay. And then you're just like, then it becomes fun.
You're an apple dealer.
You're a freaking apple dealer.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you don't just make it. You get the apples. You maybe put it in puree. Do something really cool with it.
Yeah.
But
you enjoy the process of getting rid of the apples.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, well, I like picking the apple, I like eating them, but I don't like to actually figure out ways to sell them. But that becomes fun too.
And because you have abundance coming back, you can then plant more trees that give more apples.
Yeah.
Does you see what I mean? But you have to have that give and receive on the other side of it.
And then those trees spread roots. No, I'm just joking. How far can we take this apple analogy?
That's
my question.
So something a lot of people may not know is that we have a training that shows people how to go full-time doing what they love. Now, this works for people, whether you are a healer, a Reiki practitioner, you're into art, into music. You're trying to go full-time doing
Podcaster, blogger, YouTuber,
anything. Going full-time doing what you love. What Victor and I have found is that there's a simple 4-step process that we call MIVS, M-I-V-S. We reveal it in this webinar training, and in this webinar training, we also give away something called the Money Mindset Blueprint, which will show you how to get all the top beliefs that we have, limited beliefs, and how to change them around and how to transform them.
Yes.
That's absolutely free. That we're going to reveal in the upcoming webinar that you can go to right now. You go to aarondowdy.com/FTP, which stands for full-time purpose. You go to aarondowdy.com/FTP. You can join that of the next webinar, and I'm going to show you just that. Plus, just for showing up, you're going to get the Money Mindset Blueprint, and you're going to learn how to do that. So it's a time on the planet right now where light workers and people in general are meant to be spreading their gifts, learning to go full-time doing what they love. And Victor and I did it, and here's the thing that's cool. You don't need 100,000 followers to do it. No. You don't need even 10,000 followers to do it. If you learn what Victor and I teach in that webinar training, you can do it with way less you can even imagine. It's about value. Money is a direct reflection of the value you put out. And the value, Victor and I, we create value for people. That's our goal. Like, my goal isn't like, can I get more subscribers? Can I do this? It's how much value can I add, knowing that a side effect of value is that people want to subscribe, people want to stick around. So in the same way, it's value. And what we teach in that webinar is how to cultivate that value, how to use that, and how to get and go full time doing what you love. Because that's what Victor and I like. We're in Newport right now. People see us live a certain type of lifestyle, so we want to show
them that it can be done a lot faster, a lot more easily, a lot more inexpensively than people think.
Yeah,
like
within a couple months. It could be a couple months.
Yeah, a few months. Yeah.
So. Yeah, if anyone here is listening to this or watching this, go to, like I said, aarondowdy.com/FTP. Watch and join the next webinar training where I'm also going to be giving away that of the Money Mindset Blueprint, showing you exactly how to change your money mindset and your limiting beliefs around money. And other than that, if people want to find more from you, Victor Odo, where can they find you?
The easiest way is to type in my name on YouTube, Victor
Spiritual
Odo,
Enigma.
ODDO. You can put a hyphen spiritual phenomenon if you'd like.
Hyphen or hashtag.
But yeah, YouTube's the easiest way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find Victor Odo on YouTube. Other than that, I want to thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. It's been fun.
If everyone likes this kind of episode, let me know. Maybe we'll do like a money mindset series or something
That'd
like
be
that.
Cool. Yeah, for sure.
Or something like that. I feel like starting to talk about value at the end.
The surface, basically. There's so much more.
I feel like this is an introduction. We can talk about like just value next. We can talk so many different aspects of this.
Yeah.
But let us know. We don't know unless you let us know.
Yeah.
Other than that, we want to thank you for being here, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace, much love, namaste.
Namaste.